Hi, I'm Lars, welcome back to the shop. Today, we're gonna look at this Cub Cadet Tank L60 Z-turn because yesterday I was out mowing and when I pushed the arms forward, it started whining real bad and I lost all traction in the left side. Okay? If that interests you, let's get to it. So, what's going on with this tank is, I think, something to do with the hydraulics. I don't know if one of the motors is bad. I don't know if it's one of the pumps, or it could just need new hydraulic fluid. All right, the reservoir seems to be full. When you stick your finger and pull it out, it seems to be pretty clear. You know, it's not like burn up or anything like that, but I just don't know. So hopefully you guys want to come on board with this. So I'm gonna pull this thing out, get it over here, get it on some jacks. To enable me to turn this brake off when I start this, I gotta bypass the sensor switch here that says that I'm sitting in the seat. So an easy way to do this, take a piece of electrical wire and just put a loop in it. Now I can start it, and I can also turn the brake off so I can move the handle so I can see if we're getting any movement in the wheels. Now, if you're wondering, you know, if you found this video on my channel, you've got to be pretty desperate. I am not a mechanic. I'm not going to tell anyone that I am a mechanic. By trade, I design software. Now, this is your hydraulic container. Okay, this is where you put your oil in and stuff. And I don't know if you can see this, but my oil is pretty low. It's probably about a ½ inch down. It looks pretty clear, so it looks like it's pretty good. But I'm going to change it anyway. Underneath here, there's a filter that looks like this, and I've got this off of Amazon. So I'll put all this in the description. So we need to take off these 3 screws and then pull the filter out and replace it. All of these tubes, okay, so there's 2 tubes that come out of here. There's one tube that is the return and one tube that is the output. The way that I understand that this works is when you move your handle forward, the pump doesn't actually switch direction, it just redirects the oil into another tube, and that pushes the motor down here. So the way this works is the pump, the box that's up behind this wall here doesn't actually do anything but hold the fluid that's in it. I'll show you the 2 pumps that are up on top, but there's one tube that comes down that rotates this way, and the other tube, when you move the handle the other way forward, it comes through the bottom and it pushes it the other way. These here you can't take apart. You can't do anything with them. The only thing you do is buy a new one. I think each one of these little motors on the side, what they call them, they're about 600 bucks. Okay. I'll put my model number and everything for this in the description, so in case you've got one like it. This is the cable that goes to the brake system. Which, up here at the top, this is the pump and the fan to cool it down and everything for your left side if you're facing forward, and this is the fan and the pump to do everything for the right side. When you pull on these handles here in the front, you'll see here, I'll pull the one on the right side so you can see what happens. See how this here moves? When this moves, it switches what output the oil is coming through to turn your wheel either one way or the other. Right now, what's happening to me and anyone who drives this thing, the right side over there is working really good. This one here, every time you start pushing on it, you hear this really high-pitched whining. Now, when I have this up in the air, there's no load on it, no pressure on it, and I move this back and forth. The only thing that's whining is this needs to be oiled, but the actual mechanism doesn't whine or anything, so I think that's okay. Now, there's supposed to be a belt system on these that connects it to the main drive so everything's spinning, and then you can keep your pressure up in your two pumps. I need to look at that belt system now to see if that belt is tight, or if it's as tight as the one on the other side. Because like I said, that guy over there, here's the brake line, this is the brake right here up front. This is the brake line right here, as you can see. Somewhere down in here it splits into each side, and that side seems to not be pulling hard. So this one here might have a belt that's a little loose. So let me go check on that. Alright, so one thing that I really don't like about people who do videos is they don't show you everything. Now, I'm going to get in here and show you guys everything that I can. So this is your actual pump. This is the side view on the left side. That's one of the tubes, and there's another one that comes, so there's one tube that comes from here, and there's another tube that looks like it's coming out of the back here. Right? It's in the very back right there. See, this is one, and the other one's right back here. This tube right here. Now, these tubes look like they're really old, but basically all they do is they come down through the front here. These are the tubes right here, and they come into here, into the motor. Now, like I said, this motor seems to be turning just fine with no load on it. The other thing that I want to point out while I'm down here is there's a box right here, this one. There's a drain that's up here in the front, right here. And that's where you drain your hydraulic fluid, okay? They say you need about a gallon container to put it in, and so you're going to need some sort of a basin, because obviously with the deck on here, which I'm not taking off because it's kind of jerry-rigged up there at the moment with a bunch of bolts that seem to work instead of the ones that they sell you, because they keep on breaking on me. Up here in the reservoir where the oil's at, like I said, it looks pretty daggone clean. What they do say, and this is every single person, and I have looked on every way to change every single hydraulic fluid on every mower, because this one's not out there. They say do not get anything in this reservoir when you drain it or when you fill it. Make sure that it is 100% debris free, because if it does get anything in there, once it gets into this motor right here, or that motor, either one, it will just destroy it. Now, these guys, again, thanks Cadet, they are not, you cannot disassemble them. All right. They show the breakdown of them, of how to take them completely apart, but from what I understand, once they're put together, they are sealed. So pretty much stuck after that. These things to replace, just for the part, is $1,875, I think. So if you needed to replace this and that, you're around $2,500 right out the door. Now this is for a 60-inch. For a 48, that part right there is about $2,600. That's just for the part. So if you're going to do it yourself, you might get away, you know, pretty scot-free. And if you look at the cost of these mowers brand new are, I think right now, around $14,000. But I still think that, you know, when manufacturers build these things, they ought to make everything that can be broken down and taken apart. I don't know why they don't do that. Well, I do, because they can charge you an arm and a leg for this piece. So let me get down, let me get a bucket. We're going to get this stuff drained out. All right, so when I took this case off, there's a spring underneath, and I'm sorry that I didn't get it filmed. Really upset about that, actually. It was full of oil. There was oil all the way up to just about to the top, and there was a filter in it. And the filter, I showed you the filter that I have, looked just like this. This was on top. Now, as soon as I took the top completely off, the filter came up a little bit, and then the oil went down. So, again, when we fill this back up, they say put your filter back in, tighten this down, and then fill this with oil till it's a 1/4 inch from the top of it. And then there's some processes you have to do. But right now I'm trying to figure out how big this nut is on the other side. It's a really big nut for a, it's like it's 5/8 inch. So I'm not taking my deck off, so I'm going to use a funnel underneath it and undo the, I'm going to undo the bolt. The bolt might drop down in here and get stuck. So I'm going to be real careful using the closed end instead of the open end, so I can get the bolt loose, and maybe I can pull that bolt down as oil is going down through here and get it out of the way, and funnel this down into another, into my bucket that's going to be sitting on the ground. So let's see if I can do this or not. So this is what I'm looking at the moment. I've got the wrench on here. The nut actually is not that tight, so I'm going to try taking the wrench off, and I'm going to be in a kind of crazy position here, so I might have to put the wrench back on to get this off. Yeah, I'm going to put the wrench back on to get this off. A little bit looser. As long as I keep this funnel right beneath the nut, the hole, should be okay. Here we go. Okay, I think that's about it. Yeah, that smells pretty burnt. Alright, so as you can see, or maybe you can't see, there's still some oil residue down in there. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. But just want to keep the debris out. Now, this oil smells pretty bad. It doesn't look like it's all burnt up, but it does smell like it's been cooked. So it's probably a good thing that we're changing this right now. So let me get the stuff started up, set up here, and we'll get the filter in and get it filled. Remember, when you put these in, this goes on top, not the bottom. And you put your spring down on top of that. Again, we put the screws back in. It even says on the top here, attention, change your oil every 500 hours. And don't put these all the way in until you get all three of them in, because you do have a spring on the bottom of this. Okay, now all we need to do now is fill her up. One thing I do want to mention, this is the right side. This is the fan up here on top, and this is the right size actual pump. In the service manual it says remove this bolt to drain the oil faster from the motor, and I'm trying to figure out how that's going to help, or how would have that helped with what we just did. So I'm going to crack that open a little bit. The only thing I can think is that it's going to let either oil drain out of this side, or it's going to break the air pressure off of it, which I think that happened when I pulled the filter out. Maybe taking the fan cover off might get it. Yeah, that's the only way to get down to it. And then it's going to be a knuckle buster once you do it. You're going to run right into the ROPS system. But I don't see anything coming out here, and I don't see anything filling up the reservoir. So I think that's all it meant, is that if you wanted some air behind it, you could take this off of here and it would drain quicker because you'd get air behind it. So we're going to fill the reservoir. It takes 3 quarts. The only way you can actually buy this stuff is like in a gallon jug. You can't buy quarts of it. I don't know why. In the Shell or the Valvoline. Cub Cadet, full disclosure, recommends using the Shell. Valvoline, they say if you use Shell you get 500 hours out of it. I don't know if I agree with that or not. The Valvoline Premium has the same type of reviews as the Shell. People say they get 500 hours out of this. I probably will start changing this every 250 hours. The problem I have now is this is supposed to take only 3 quarts. All right, this comes in a gallon, and the Shell comes in a gallon also. So I got to figure out how to get 3 quarts into here. I'm sure I've got an old oil bottle around here somewhere that's dried up, and I'll just fill it with oil, put a quart in it, dump it in, fill it again with a quart, dump it in, fill it again with a quart, and slowly put that one in, because I don't want to fill it up all the way, because once you get oil in something, it's a pain in the butt to get it out. Then I need to start the mower, okay? And once the mower's started, I need to pull the levers forward, or push them forward, right? If you want to sit on it, if you have yours on jacks like mine, you can just sit on it. But be careful getting on it. Push them forward and hold them for 30 seconds. Do not skimp on the 30 seconds, because what you're doing is you're bleeding out the air. So running it forward is running that fluid through the pump and one of the tubes and pushing it through the other tube to come back up, okay, back into the reservoir. And then you're going to pull it back for 30 seconds, and then you're going to go the other way. Believe it or not, just doing that may not get all the air out. So they recommend you turn it off, check the reservoir. If the fluid went down, add more fluid. Cub Cadet says put 3 quarts in, but right now we don't know how much we have in the lines. Okay, that's what I'm saying this. So once you do that, turn it off, get back on it, push it forward for 30 seconds, pull it back for 30 seconds, push it forward for 30 seconds, pull it back for 30 seconds, and this will all be in the video, just be really sped through so you can see all the motions that's going on. Get off, check the oil again. If at that point it hasn't gone down, and if that's good, cap it back off. I'd run it 2 more times, double check it again. The reason behind this is very important. If you get air bubbles in here and you don't bleed this right, you'll burn these motors up. And you got to remember, each one of them are $1,875 on a 60-inch mower, and they're $2,600 on a 48-inch mower. the actual motor that turns the wheel, I think they're between $400 and $600 each. And if you burn both of them up, okay, and you got a 48, just gonna throw the 48 out there, you've got like $7,000 in repairs if you do it yourself. If you do the 60 out there, you're gonna have about $5,000 in repairs if you do it yourself. Now, it's not hard to do. I can tell you I could probably do it, and it'd probably take me 6 to 8 hours to do, all right? And I'm not a mechanic. I'm not some guy that's like, hey, let's go out and tear an engine apart today. I do as minimal amount of work on engines as I can, and usually it's on small engines. So let's get this thing done. So the next thing we need to do is we need to put in some 1540 oil. The book recommends Shell. And if you put Shell in, you'll have to change this every 500 hours. But I'm going to use this Valvoline Premium Blue, which has the same rating as the Shell, 15W40. So I'm going to get this in here and be very careful putting it in. Not saying don't spill it everywhere, but you only want it to be about a 1/4 inch from the top of the reservoir. And I'm going to double check that in the guide. I hope you learned something from this. I hope this helped you out, because I looked all over the internet for something about why is my arms whining when they go forward. Trying to look at how to change hydraulic fluid. There's nothing on a Cub Cadet that I found. I think I found one guy that did an old Cub Cadet that wasn't anything like this, and I took that information, some stuff that I found in the service manual, which I will put in the description. Now, I don't know how many hours are on this because the gauge I think is broke. To give you an idea how much we mow, we've had this one over here, this 48 Cub Cadet, for about 16 years, and it's got 533 hours on it, all right? When you're mowing your property, even in the farm, we have 11 acres, we're only putting like 4 hours every time we mow. We only mow like every other week. It's, you know, maybe 30, 40 hours a year, if that, okay? Same thing with this. When we got it, we bought it used. Guy said there was no issues with it, what all, and you know how that goes, right? So we had to have a little bit of work done on the engine. It wasn't that much money, so I wasn't worried about this. This one kind of scared me. Now, both of these pumps, just a reminder, both of these pumps, if you were buying for this, or if you bought one, they're $875 a piece, and I think the motor on the side is around between $400 and $600, all right? Luckily, and this is the point I always like to make in my videos, I like to do the experimentation on it myself first. If I can save some money, that's what I'm gonna do, and I encourage everybody to do this. Worst comes to worst, you're either gonna bring it to somebody and they're gonna fix it right. You can try to put it back together or not put it back together. It doesn't really matter. They're gonna do what they need to do to get it done right, okay? And you learn something from it. Second thing, what was wrong with this, it was just the hydraulic fluid needed to be cleaned and the filter needed to be replaced. As long as you go through the steps, put the hydraulic fluid in, you know, put the filter in, put the cap back on, put the hydraulic fluid in, and run it through the motions like you just saw, you should be fine. I did take it out for a test. The whining's gone. It cuts better than it ever did before. It runs better than it ever did before. Okay, so we probably should have changed this out a long time ago. So if you liked the video, please click like. Please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more stuff here than just me working on a mower. If you're into CNC stuff and lasers and big projects like concrete projects and stuff, we've got all kinds of videos to watch like that. Really would love it if you subscribe to the channel, because that's what keeps us moving and doing this. As always, you're welcome back in the shop, and have a great day.